spectacular.
You were saying you ran across a Arizona cypress that was like the biggest you've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's right off of, where is that? It's a mining road, not a road. These
Trails.
are trails. Yeah, there's really a Jeep couldn't even go down, but there was an Arizona cypress forest. Of course, it's Arizona
Mhm.
cypress. They grow here. They grow really well, but they were on this creek wash that they were magnificent. I've seen lots of Arizona cypress, but not
Right.
40-foot tall.
Yeah.
They were magnificent. Usually they top out like a juniper, 20, 25 feet. These were twice that, not quite twice, but they were magnificent. Had to take a picture. Oh, maybe I'll
Okay.
post them on Facebook,
Yeah, you should.
Instagram. That's
Ooh,
the place for pictures.
I wouldn't know.
Well, we should do some,
Want to do some gardening?
yeah,
Gardening
we should do some
questions?
gardening.
So our first question is from Teresa, and it's probably going to take a few minutes. So we'll do that one first. So last year, her roses suffered immensely from thrip damage. And so her first question is, how does she prevent that? And the second part of the question is, she has shrub roses and tea roses. Should they be pruned differently?
Yeah, good questions. So thrip damage, just start with the first part, and then we'll go to pruning. That's why we have rose food with systemic on it. They make a food specifically for roses because this is such a common problem,
Mhm.
thrip and aphids. So get your pruning done. We'll cover that in a second, and fertilize right afterwards. Sometime in the month of March, you should fertilize everything in the yard, but especially your roses.
Mhm.
And I would say that first feeding should be the rose food with systemic because that will cut back. It's got a bug control, kind of vaccinates the roses towards insects. And you can still have some thrip, but it won't make the leaves all curled up. It won't make the flowers get that black and looks like a bit
Winter.
lighter, burned them. It'll take care of that. Now, pruning, you should prune everything in the month of March. All your roses should be pruned in March. Okay, that's this week. Sometime in
Mhm.
the next month, get all your roses pruned. Hybrid teas, floribundas, grandifloras, those are pruned a little bit differently than shrubs. Shrubs are mainly hedgerows. You're more
Mhm.
hedging them like you would a photinia or euonymus,
Okay.
or
Shaping it. Yeah.
shaping it more. And then they just are so vigorous that they grow out of that. Hybrid teas, floribundas, generally these are things with long stem roses, specialty roses. These are things you probably ought to be more focused on taking out the old canes,
Mhm.
because to get a great big flower like that, it grows on a new vigorous green
Mhm.
cane. If it's got bark all over it, focus on taking those out, at least one or two,
Okay.
so it will encourage vibrant new growth to come up. And so you get better,
Mhm.
fatter, larger, more fragrant flowers. If flowers come on those old stalks, they'll be smaller. It just kind of,
Mhm.
the vigor is cut back on those. So that's how I'd encourage you to prune those.
You're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. All right, next question is from Jenna. She has raised beds, wants to know how far down that soil has to be turned for vegetable planting.
Sure. So what the book says is 8 inch. So that's about one shovel's depth, or a rototiller depth, or a disc, whatever you're turning your soil with. The English like double turning, so they like
Mm.
to turn and then turn it again a little bit deeper.
Hmm.
That would be important for potatoes, tomatoes, your deep rooted things.
Mhm.
They would appreciate that. Long carrots, they would like that. But on general, 8 inches is good. That's also why a raised bed should be a minimum of 8 inches. I
Okay.
really like to go 12 to 18 inches
Yeah, I was
so
going
you
to
can get the
ask what's
deeper roots.
mhm.
So it just, on the long run, it helps you with crop rotations and that kind of stuff. But minimum, going back to your point, 8 inches.
Okay. All right. Well, we're just cruising
That's
along.
good.
You're just right
That's
there.
because I'm just so young. Because I had a birthday, and I'm just, yeah.
All right. Well, David would like to know, he's had a pear in the ground for 3 years now. He wants to know if he can start heavily pruning it at this point, and here again, what's the best way to go about that?
Yeah. This is a radio show, right? Radio, audio.
Get your
So,
diagrams.
yeah, I know. Yes, you can prune. You should prune now. And the way you start, and I would get the pruning done, but you prune fruit trees, all fruit trees between January and March. That's your window. Prune them back. And if this is your first time to prune them, you may lose some of your harvest this year.
Mhm.
Typically, the first year after you do a heavy pruning, it affects how many pears you're going to have.
Ah,
But the next year after that, it just is unbelievable, the crop. So there's a cycle to it. Just be aware. It's not you, it's the way the plants are. There again, you're wanting to open up the center of fruit trees. We're trying to control disease.
mhm.
These are heavily sugared, heavily desired plants by not just us, but bugs, disease, leaf spot. So to have openness, lets air flow through, air through,
Mhm.
the sunlight comes in. So I always start with broken branches, discolored branches. If that snow we had like a month
Yeah.
ago had things bend down,
Mhm.
just go for the things that are obviously damaged. Then I'll go for crossing branches, things that are growing to the inside. That's clogging up the inside. You want to open that up. So you want to have the scaffolding or this structure where it has more vase shaped so you can hold the fruit, but still let the air go through it. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the secret to all fruit trees, but especially apples and pears. Those are more, you prune more diligently.
Mhm.
The middle out of those help
Okay.
you with the crop. But
Sure.
good question. If you have a question, take a snapshot with an iPad, bring it to us. We'll actually show you which ones to take out as best we
As
can with
best
a
we
little
can.
picture, but
Yeah.
that's it. All right, Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners.
Yep.
Be right back.